Hello, my name is Mags Warrington and this is my garden and the dinosaurs who live there. I make videos about gardening and also about keeping chickens and keeping quail. This particular video is in response to the challenging situation that we all find ourselves in. Many people are having to stay at home, children aren't getting to go to school. And I thought it would be fun to make a series of videos that take you through growing things from start to finish, so from sowing seeds right through to enjoying eating the things that you're growing or looking at the flowers that you've grown. And I'm gearing this particularly towards children of all ages. And my idea is that I will show you how to do things and hopefully you guys will follow along, children either on their own or maybe with the help from their parents. So this is the first video in the series, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can grow pea shoots. So that is little plants grown from peas that you can eat. So stay tuned and I'll show you what to do. Okay, so we are going to grow pea shoots, and pea shoots are just little plants that are grown from a pea, and it doesn't take long to grow them, just a few days, maybe a week or so, and they're really scrummy. They can be eaten on their own or put in salads, or even if you're having some stew or some soup, you can put pea shoots in and it adds a bit of flavour to them and they're really nice. Also, if you've got pets like pea shoots. If you've got, for example, guinea pigs or rabbits, you'll find they probably like pea shoots as well. So they're really versatile and they're really tasty and they don't take long to grow. So what's not to like? What I will do then is I'll show you what you need to grow the pea shoots and I'll show you how to start them off, and then in a little while I'll make another video to show you, to give you an update so you can see how my pea shoots look, and hopefully your pea shoots by that point will look the same. Okay, right, so what do you grow pea shoots in? You can get a plant pot and grow pea shoots in a plant pot, or you might find you've got a container in the house. So I have got this container that we had grapes in, so I bought grapes from the shop and they came in this plastic container. The important thing about whatever you grow the pea shoots in, and this goes for any plants that you're growing, is that you need to have holes in the bottom. So there's actually holes in the bottom of this grape tub. And holes are important because you have to water the plants when you're growing plants, and if you put too much water in, the holes give the water a chance to flow out of the tub, because you don't want to have water sitting in your tub because it's not good for the plants and can actually kill them. So some sort of tub, it could be a grape tub, it could be a plant pot, any other type of container, as long as it's got holes in the bottom. And the other thing that's quite useful to have is something like this. This is called a drip tray, and what you will do is whatever plant pot or tub you're using, you can sit it in the drip tray. And this is good because if you are watering, or when you're watering your plants, if as the soil gets wet, any excess water comes out the bottom or through the holes. And if you've got that sitting in a drip tray, it means that the water won't go everywhere. So you'll probably, what you'll do is once you've planted your peas, you'll put this on a windowsill, and it's better to have a tray and then put that on the tray on the windowsill so that when you water, you don't get water everywhere. You don't have to use a tray like this. You could just use a plate or anything else that just sort of, you can sit this pot on to stop the water going everywhere. And you also need compost, and compost is what you will grow your plants in. And here is an example of the compost I'm going to use. And compost is just earth really, and it's used to grow plants in. So I've taken some out of the bag and put it in a tub, in a basin there. This is an example of compost you might use for a particular variety. It doesn't really matter what variety. The important thing is that it's compost of some description for you to grow your plants in. And then we have the peas themselves. Now, you may well already have these in your pantry because these are peas that people buy to put in soups. And they literally are just dried peas. And they're very hard. Let's see if I can get a noise. You hear that noise? That's because they're hard. They're dried, so they don't have any moisture in them, so it makes them quite hard. You can't eat them as they stand. They're not really edible. They're far too hard. So they have to be cooked if you're going to eat the peas. And before we actually plant the peas, what we're going to do is soak them in water. So that's the sort of thing, that's a particular variety of peas, but there's all sorts of other varieties out there, other makes out there. But what you're looking for is dried peas. That's what you need. So, step one is soaking your peas. So as I said, they're really dry, there's no moisture in them, and if you don't soak them before you plant them, it takes a little bit longer to actually get your pea plants. So what you should do is get yourself a cup or a little tub or something and put a handful of your peas, or maybe a couple of handfuls of your peas in there, put some water on it and just leave it overnight. So you'll start this one day and then you'll finish it the next day. So I have got this little container and I put peas in this yesterday, and I put water on top of them and they've been soaking in that water overnight. So now if I take some of the peas out here, in fact let's get an example of the dried peas, and here is an example of the peas once they've soaked. Oops, oh, they're all rolling off. So you should be able to see there that the peas that I've soaked are much bigger than the dried peas. I'll just show you one of each. So that is the pea that has been soaking overnight, and that is the pea that is completely dry and hasn't actually soaked yet. So by soaking them, the peas sort of are like a sponge. They sort of absorb the water, and it plumps them up, and it actually then means that they're much more ready to form a plant, because they've got lots of water in there already. So I've got my peas that have soaked overnight and they're ready to be planted. Now what I need to do is fill up my tub with compost. Now I use gloves when I'm handling compost because it keeps your hands clean. You don't have to use gloves, but you can choose to if you want. So here's my container and here's my tray. So next step is to put compost into the container, but not fill it up completely. So I'll probably fill it 3/4 full. So I'm just going to use my hands to put the compost into the container. And it's a good idea just to shake, so you can see, shake your container and just bash it like that so that the compost all settles down. And you see it's starting to settle down. Put a little bit more compost in there. And I'm just going to press down, not hard, just a little bit, to just firm the soil a little bit. So you can see now that the tub is about 3/4 full, and that is almost ready for me to put the peas in. But one more thing I'm going to do before I put the peas in is to moisten the compost. So I'm going to water the compost a little bit. I'm not going to make it really soaking wet, but I'm just going to dampen it a little bit. And again, that helps the peas to start growing. Okay, now to moisten the compost, I'm just going to use I've just got a water bottle, and it's got this little special nozzle on the top. So when I do this, I get water coming out of it. You can use a watering can, or just very carefully pour some water. You know, if you don't have this little fancy lid, just pour some water from the bottle into the compost. But just be careful not to make it too wet. So that's what I'm going to do. There we go, that's all I need. And of course, because I've got it in the drip tray, if any water does come out of the bottom, it's not going to go on top of on the table that I'm working on just now. Okay, now we're ready to put the peas in. So I'm just going to take my gloves off for that. There we go. Now, because we are growing peas for pea shoots, we actually want to put lots and lots of peas here. We're going to cover the surface of that compost with peas because we want each one of these peas is going to grow a little pea shoot for us. So the more peas we get in, the more pea shoots we're going to get. So we can really jam pack this with peas. We don't need to just put in a few. We want to jam pack that with peas so we get lots and lots of lovely pea shoots. What I'm going to do is I'm literally just going to get a bit messy here. I'm just going to get some peas, and I'm going to put them on top of my compost. And I'm just going to make sure that it's just a single layer of peas, so make sure that all of my peas are in contact with the compost. Just a little bit more, I think. Okay, so you're looking to go a bit like that, to have your peas covering the top of your compost. And you can press down a little bit just to make sure that the peas are in contact with the soil. There we go. And that's that. Next thing to do is to cover the peas with another layer of compost. So I'm going to pop my glove back on, and I'm just going to take some compost and I'm going to scatter it over the top of my peas. So you don't have to have too thick a layer here, quite a thin layer actually. That will be fine. And I'm just going to just bounce the container to get the soil going down in between the spaces between the peas, and then just tap it down a little bit, and that's me. Last thing I'm going to do is just give it a tiny bit more water, because of course the compost that I put on top is dry. So a little bit more water, and that's it done. So I've now sown peas that are going to give me pea shoots. It's quite amazing actually if you look at a single pea. That actually is just ready and waiting to grow. And when it's in soil, like what we have just done, or what I've just done, it won't be long before it sort of breaks open and roots come out of the bottom and the little shoot comes out of the top. So this one little pea, there's everything in that little pea to grow a plant. It's quite amazing. Now, one other thing I would recommend you do, and I'm going to do through this series, is to keep a journal. A journal's a really good idea when you start planting things, particularly if you're going to plant a few things, because a journal or a diary lets you record what you have planted and when you have planted it, and you can also record things like, you know, when you first see a shoot appearing, and eventually when you can harvest what you've grown. And I think that's, you know, that's really good, because you can keep if you keep this diary, you can always look back. Let's say you want to grow more peas, then you can look back at your journal and you can see what you did and when you did it and how long it took. And it's good to refer to as you go on growing things. So if you've got a notebook or even some bits of paper, I would sort of put some aside and use that as your planting journal. Okay, so that is all for the peas. The only last thing, I guess, is where you put your tub. Plants like light, so you shouldn't leave this in the middle of a room somewhere. You're far better putting it on a window ledge. So put it on a windowsill where it gets daylight and it might even get some sunshine when the sun is shining. So find a window ledge in your kitchen or somewhere else that gets plenty of light and a bit of sunshine, and you can just leave that there. You should make sure that you keep the soil moist. I won't need to water this again for 2 or 3 days in all likelihood. You know you need to water if you sort of put your finger a little bit into the soil and if you feel it's dry. So the top might be dry, well, quite often dries out first, but if you just put your finger just slightly below the soil, if it's dry down there, then you probably have to give it a little water. So give it a water. You probably only have to water every 2 or 3 days, depending on how sunny it is on the window ledge that you've got the tub. And in a few days' time, you'll start to see little shoots forming. So what I'll do then is I'll wait until I've got some shoots forming, and I'll do another video to talk about that, and you can compare what you have with what I have. Right, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope that you'll follow along. I'm going to make a number of other videos. I'm going to grow a variety of other things. So before I finish this video, I'm just going to show you a few things that I'm going to talk about growing. And I'm going to do that now so that you can get some supplies in. The peas that I used here, you know, many people already have peas in their pantry, in their cupboard. But some of the other things we're going to grow, you need special seeds for. So bear with me a second, and I'm just going to show you some of the other things that I'm going to make videos about growing, and hopefully you'll be able to get some of these and you can grow along with me. Okay, one of the things that we're going to be growing in this video series is potatoes. So for that you'll need a single potato, and it can be a potato that you have already got in your vegetable cupboard, or you can also buy potatoes from places, garden centres and so on, that are specifically designed to be grown and grown into a potato plant. So the potatoes that you have in your cupboard are designed and bred to be eaten, but you can actually get special potatoes that are bred and sold to you to grow potato plants. So either of those will do. Just get yourself a potato, whether it's from a garden centre or whether it's from your cupboard in the kitchen, and just take this potato and put it on a window ledge, and sit it on a window ledge and just leave it there for a couple of weeks, 3 weeks, and then we'll get onto a video that will show you what to do with this potato, and so that you can grow your own potatoes with a potato plant. Now the idea is when you have this on the window ledge, it will start sprouting. You'll get little sprouts, and that's fine. That's what we're looking for. The whole purpose of putting your potato on the window ledge is so that it does start sprouting, because it then makes it easier to grow. So first thing you want to get, if you want to follow along in growing potatoes, is get yourself a potato, pop it on a window ledge. What else are we going to grow? Well, one of the easiest things to grow, and quite scrummy again, are salad leaves. So these are lovely green leaves, and this one is a mix. This is called Speedy Mix, but you can get all sorts of packets of seeds that are salad mixes. And we're going to use those to grow a pot of lovely scrummy salad leaves. And following on from that, we're also going to try and grow whole lettuces. So this is a type of lettuce. This one's called saladin, but there's lots and lots of different types of lettuces. And if you can pick up a packet of seeds for a lettuce, then that would be great as well. We'll also have a shot of growing carrots. Now, one thing I would recommend when you're looking to get carrot seeds, or your mum and dad are getting carrot seeds for you, is that you get carrots that are going to be quite short, because we're just going to grow them in a relatively small tub. It will be quite deep, but relatively small. So we don't necessarily want carrots that are going to, their aim is to be huge. We're going to have carrots that are quite small. So pick yourself up some carrot seeds, and we're going to sow those in one of the videos. Another thing we're going to grow is turnip, and these are little, this one's called Snowball, but you can get little purple turnips, other sorts of turnips, but the idea is that these are going to grow into little, just that size of turnip, and they're really sweet and tasty, and you can actually have them raw in salads, and you can put them in stews and things like that. So whether you're going to make those stews, or your mum and dad or dad are going to make these stews, it'd be great if you could say, right, I've grown these turnips, and you can cook them for me. And you can actually also roast them or just boil them and have them with other things for your dinner. So turnip, we're going to have a try at growing. And then we're going to have a try at growing radish. And radishes, they're again really scrummy, lovely in salads, and they're just little balls that size, these particular ones. And these grow really quickly and very, very well, particularly when it's not too hot, actually. So we're going to have a shot at growing some radishes. Whoops, I'm spilling some of those because I've already opened that packet. And then another thing we're going to try growing are peas. Now today I showed you how to grow pea shoots, but these are special pea seeds that are designed to be grown to a pea plant, and the pea plant will be quite big, and it will give you pods, and each of those pods will contain lovely peas that you can eat. So we're going to have a shot at growing peas. So if you can, or if you have someone that can on your behalf, get some of these seeds, then that will be you set up to follow some of my other videos. I think it's time for me to call a halt now. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If so, give me a thumbs up. You can click the little thumbs up icon, and that means that you've liked the video. I'll talk to you again very, very soon, but for now, bye-bye.